Raindrops keep falling on my head. Even singing the podcast theme can't get me out of bed. Why am I so depressed? I wish that Cristo Rey counselors could give me some advice on mental health. Well, this is my lucky day. They're on the podcast today.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Cristo Rey podcast. Looks like today we have no school. Yay! You're here with Brianna Blankson, Nehemiah Clayton,
Hey.
Ilonga, and Helen.
Hi.
As well as some of your most favorite counselors at Cristo Rey. So we're going to have them introduce themselves, and then we're going to talk about the wellness checks that have been going on and all the things that you want to know, talking about mental health and all of the above.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mr. Wynn, and I work with the counselors on all the administrative stuff.
Hi, this is Miss O'Donnell, 9th grade school counselor.
This is Mr. Rose, your 10th grade school counselor.
Mrs. Graham, 11th grade school counselor.
And Miss Gabriel, 12th grade school counselor. Very excited to be here.
Thank you guys for being here today. I know it's a busy time of year, especially with COVID relations going on. But I've heard some news that we now have wellness checks. And as the students know, since they're all home today, we have one. Why did you guys decide to come up with this for the students this year?
As everyone listening knows, this year has been a year, 2020 and going into 2021, a year unlike any other. And it's one that's involved a lot of patience, a lot of energy, a lot of emotions, just a lot of everything. And so, in talking with administration and sort of the school officials, we felt these wellness days were really important just because with the amount of hours that are dedicated to sort of, looking at a screen, doing homework, making sure we're staying safe, thinking about others, and just there's the constant things that are just not on the plates of adults, but the plates on, all of you as students. We felt like it was just really important to take a moment to take a step back and just have a few days, and in this case, the first day being February today, to be able to sort of think about ourselves and prioritize our mental health.
Yeah, I think like Mr. Wynn said, this year is different from any other. And for some of our students, it's almost a little bit of an escape to come to school and get away from, dare I say, responsibilities at home. And so when you are at home and working on your classes, sometimes you're balancing younger siblings. I mean, I've done sessions with students who are giving a younger sibling a bottle. And so it's just a lot all at once. You don't really get that break. And so I think these wellness days like today and the other two that we'll be having are kind of just to honor and acknowledge all that effort that you're putting in and how stressful it is.
Hey, it's Ms. Saliba, your campus minister, here to tell you that it is Catholic Schools Week. Catholic schools in the U.S. go back 400 years, and there are currently over 2.5 million Catholic school students. The goal of all Catholic schools is to nurture our gifts, and we're particularly well known for excellence in education. But that's especially so we can use our gifts to serve not just our own success, but our community, to lift others up, and to lead and live with love. This is not just students, it's why we're all here and not somewhere else. It's a pretty awesome thing to be a part of. So God bless and guide our Catholic schools this week and always. Amen.
I guess to piggyback off of what Ms. O'Donnell said, I think a lot of times we don't look at our mental health as necessarily as important as maybe our physical health and everything else. So it's always good when you can just sit back and remember that, your mental health is just as important or more so than your physical health. And, I think it's just a testament to the leadership of the school to recognize the need, especially during these times, the need for that mental break, just a chance to get away, step back for a second or two, re-engage, refocus, and recharge. And even if it's just for a day. So hats off to the administration for listening and, receiving the information and making this decision that they did for everyone's mental health, not just the students.
I guess to kind of push a little deeper on that question. So this can be like for all the counselors, what's something you want students to take that day as? I think a lot of times because it's a free day, we might go into that same exact repetition of just, this can be a day to catch up on work. But instead of doing that, what are some advice you would give the students to really use this day as a mental health day?
It's hard to kind of pinpoint one thing. There's a lot of things that students can do kind of with that self-care, right? But I think if whatever students do, if they're able to be really intentional about it, right? So for some students, maybe it's like journaling, right? Like that's my thing. I don't get a chance to really write because I'm so busy writing for school. So maybe this is a day where they can kind of write for themselves. And if it's just kind of freestyle journaling, I know we have some aspiring novelists out there, who kind of do their own writing. So maybe this is a day for them to really be intentional and take that time instead of doing school writing, to do that schoolwork or that writing for themselves.
Did you do that on purpose, Miss Gabriel? Like you just teed it up for Mrs. Graham to ask kids to join Creative Writing Club, right?
I mean, I think it's a great outlet. So
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, I know there's some writers in the room too. So yeah, on that note, we have Creative Writing Club now, me and Mrs. Matt. So every Wednesday evening from 6 to 7, you can join Creative Writing Club. It's not a break from the screen, but it is a good chance for you to, talk with fellow peers about what you're interested in. So to kind of piggy off that, I would say that, I don't know, I think wellness is important and all of you are on screens all the time. So I think taking the day to get away from screens to kind of reflect, think about the things that you value, what's important to you and things that you enjoy, taking care of yourself, your basic needs, making sure you have plenty of water, you're eating good food, getting that nutrition that you need to flourish. One thing I always say to students is you got to nourish to flourish. And so just thinking about that, and self-care is all about that, and spending time with those that you love and who support you. So that's what I would encourage everyone to do on their wellness day.
Thank you so much for these great advices. And like Ms. Gabriel said, I really love journaling. Just write down some thoughts about how my day has been going, my week, or just life in general. And I really like that idea. And I'm happy today because I get to journal. Yes.
Hi everyone, I am Shrujana Bastola, and I am the secretary for our school's JSA chapter. I wanted to inform you guys about WinterCon, which is going to be from February 26th through February 28th. Winter Congress is a convention usually held in DC, but because of this year's circumstances, it will be virtual. ORV will be combining with Midwest and Southern California this year. You do have to register before the convention is held and make sure you apply for scholarships. It is on a first come first served basis, so please make sure to apply early. Winter Congress is usually held as how Senate and House of Representatives is. So you have Senate on one side, and then you have House of Representatives on the other side, and then we all come together to vote on a bill. This will also give you many opportunities to learn and interact with people from different chapters and different regions as well. So please make sure to apply and register. And if you have any more questions, please make sure to reach out to any of JSA's cabinet members or Mr. Shoemaker. Thank you.
I figured out that on one of our wellness days, we're gonna be taking an AP exam for AP Gov. That's sad. How's that gonna work?
That is a great question, and I don't think we're gonna make sure that does not happen. You heard it here first.
I think how that's going to work, Helen, is we're going to reschedule that wellness day so that it's not on the day when you have to take an exam. We want you guys.
Okay, great.
We want you to be outside. We want you to be doing things that are sort of rejuvenating for you. Earlier in the year, the work study department did an awesome project with students about like your homework is to just do something for yourself, right? Some form of self-care. And sometimes I think people think that means like taking a bubble bath or, like doing something luxurious for yourself. Sometimes it's just checking in and saying, hey, self, how are you feeling today? Was today better or worse than yesterday? And kind of taking stock of like, okay, if today's not great, how can I make today better? One thing that I would encourage you all to fall back on is trying to think of 3 things every day that you can be grateful for. It's real hard to be in a bad mood when you are focusing on being thankful for the things or the people that are in your life to support you and that just bring you joy. Again, it doesn't have to be anything major, but remembering those things that you're grateful for is another form of self-care.
I mean, yeah, figuring out my class when we were figuring out that everybody was literally so mad. We're like, no, that cannot happen. We finally get a wellness day and we're having a test. So now this gives a really big assurance. So thank you.
Okay, but honestly, I think me and Brianna could attest to this. The feeling of taking that test and being done with AP Gov material for like a big test is like the most rejuvenating feeling ever, because you no longer have to worry about reading the Congress and reading like Congress letters and reading the Federalist Papers that Mr. Dye will constantly shove down our throats that may or may not have helped us for the test, but we're not going to tell him that.
Maybe.
Yeah, we'll make sure he listens to this though, so that he's aware.
It's for the way you look.
Hey guys, Ruby here.
And Rebecca.
Do you have a babe,
boo,
best friend,
or friend that you want to send some love to on Valentine's Day?
Well, now is your opportunity with Candygrams.
Sponsored by National Honor Society.
Simply purchase a to and from card for $1 during seminar.
Clearly, write your full name and your friend's full name, and bam, you got yourself a Valentine.
Monday, February 8th is the last day.
So act fast and you'll be all booed up for February 15th.
The Candygrams will be delivered the week of February 15th.
Disclaimer, Cristo Rey Columbus is not responsible for your lack of significant others on Valentine's Day or any other day of the year. So please purchase with caution.
Please don't break it. Love was made for me and you.
Maybe there can be a big celebration after, socially distanced party to celebrate the finishing of that AP exam.
Yeah, you should totally do that, because before Corona, we had a potluck for our AP US history class and everybody brought food. I brought cupcakes and donuts and cookies. I came with all the stuff, the good things, and we had like a good time, and we were basically able to go outside and have a little picnic and whatnot. And I know that would look a little different this year, but I know it is something that will bring mental health to everybody, good mental health to everybody. So see that? You should go ahead and do it.
Again, thank you so much for your time, for just tonight, for just taking off time off your schedules and stuff, and just coming here and give us your tips and advices and stuff. But I've always been curious. I've seen Mr. Wynn a lot, and Mr. Donald, like their counselors, usual counselors. Miss Gabriel is new, so I haven't seen her as much. But I've always wondered, why did you guys become counselors?
Just from my personal story, Alanga, it really was just by accident. It was one of those things where I had every intention, and Nehemiah knows his story, and Brianna knows his story, where I wanted to be a speechwriter. I wanted to work for the president, and I wanted to go to DC. And then it was just happened to be where I was working with families and helping them as a part of my work study job in college, and helping families, particularly families that were, had never gone to college before, and their son or daughter would be the first, where I just found that work to be so rewarding. And so I decided my senior year to completely make a 90-degree pivot, everything that I had planned for, I decided to not do, and go towards where my heart was saying, to work with families and students and help them sort of navigate the college process. And so I took a leap of faith, and it led me, followed my heart, and it's led me to Columbus, led me to Cristo Rey, and it's been, an awesome journey. So, not one, I know we sort of talk a lot about, thinking about your major and thinking about what you want to study. But I'm a prime example of like, you can plan as much as you want as, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds, but life, is really the ultimate thing where it'll sort of present things to you that will sort of help guide your way.
Hello, it's Dr. Ragland. Often when we celebrate Black History Month, we focus on specific heroes or influential people in Black history. Although they are important, let's not forget that the everyday actions of people who aren't in the history books have also impacted positive change toward racial justice. It takes more than a few people to define history. For example, during slavery, enslaved people often defied authority and resisted enslavement by learning how to read and write even though it was against the law, sneaking off to see their loved ones, breaking tools, and intentionally slowing down their work. This challenged the power dynamic between them and the slave owners while dismantling common narratives that justified slavery. Free African Americans also founded and joined anti-slavery societies, such as the Ohio State Anti-Slavery Society. This organization circulated 2 petitions throughout the state of Ohio. One called upon the legislature to repeal the state's Black laws and to eliminate racial discrimination from the state constitution. The other called for a state law to protect every Ohioan's right to liberty and the abolition of kidnapping and man-stealing on the soil of Ohio. The Ohio State Anti-Slavery Society remained active until the Civil War. Anyone who can email me examples of 2 other things that Black people did during slavery to resist racial oppression will get a special prize. My email address is aragland@CristoRayColumbus.org. Listen to next week's podcast for another challenge with the opportunity to win another prize.
Becoming a counselor or even working with children was the very last thing that was on my mind. You could have never told me that I was going to end up working with children. But once, you graduated and you go through life, you end up in situations. So I was needing to move back to Columbus, and I just happened to get a position working with special ed kids at Berwick Alternative. And once while I was there, I seen a need for more African-American counselors, and not only African-American counselors, but also men in this field. So that's what really made me gravitate towards becoming a counselor. I didn't necessarily want to be a teacher, but I still wanted to be able to make an impact in the children's and students' lives. So I just seen the school counselor as a way for me to be able to create relationships and rapport with the students and help them navigate through this tricky world. And I'd never known that we were gonna be in the middle of a pandemic, but I'm just glad that God kind of just worked his ways and put me where I am. And I just feel like I can make a difference from my experiences, because I like to use myself as examples when I'm trying to talk students through whatever they may be going through. And I just think that I'm, in a good position to be able to help a lot of students, especially, students of color.
I think sort of like Mr. Wynn, I did not initially start out wanting to be a counselor. So I taught high school English for 5 years in 3 different schools. And I guess, in talking about wellness today, especially, I just wasn't really happy or I didn't really feel fulfilled in my life. And at first I thought, well, I chose this career path and this is what this is what I studied. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I think, like I said, I taught for 5 years, and I probably knew after 3 that it wasn't for me. And I tried to just grit it out. I found myself in a position where I just wasn't all that happy. And so I sort of had to do a self-check and say, what's going on? And I was going to school and loving the 5 minutes in between class when I was catching up with students on, what happened the night before or over the weekend. Some students would have lunch in my classroom with me. And that was what I was going to school for, like getting through teaching English for those little conversations. And so when I sat down and thought about it, like what makes me happy about my days right now is building those relationships with adolescents and helping them navigate this, crazy, impossible world that we're in. When I went to get my degree in counseling, I was like very pleasantly surprised that I learned so much about myself, and I grew as a person. So I think selfishly, it became very personally beneficial, and I found myself as a much happier person. And so that even just sort of hammered home for me that I want to help people work through their challenges and find ways to recognize in themselves, like, I'm not happy and I got to pump the brakes, and maybe, like Mr. Wynn said, take that like 90-degree sharp turn and turn things around, because we are constantly able to control our own reactions to things, right? So we can't always control the events in our lives, but we can control our response. And when we think about the response that we have, that ultimately determines the outcome, how we look back on the situation and how we feel about it.
Hi students, this is Nurse Ross joining your podcast for just a medical minute. Wanted to talk to you about vaccine distribution for your teachers. It began on February 2nd, which is this past Tuesday. We're really excited that your teachers are able to start being vaccinated. Just a couple of facts versus fiction, things that I want you guys to know about the vaccine. I want to start by saying that the vaccine, the COVID-19 vaccine, is available to people 16 and up for the Pfizer vaccine and 18 and up for the Moderna vaccine. They're working on trials for younger people right now. Those are underway for those age 12 and older. So hopefully you all will have the opportunity at some point, maybe around the fall is what they're looking at. But your teachers are getting that vaccine right now. So I want you to know that the vaccine may help protect you from getting COVID-19. They're about 94 to 95% effective, which is great. The vaccine is another tool in your toolbox. And so what that means, and what I always think of this like, there's layers of Swiss cheese that we need to kind of put on top of one another to protect ourselves from COVID-19. Hand washing, social distancing, mask wearing, and now the vaccine is another added layer of protection. And when we put all of those layers of Swiss cheese on top of one another, we really can protect ourselves from getting COVID-19. And so hopefully this is just going to be another tool in our toolbox. I want you guys to understand that we know that this vaccine is safe. Scientists, medical experts, and researchers have ensured that every detail of these vaccines have been thoroughly and rigorously evaluated. The vaccine is going to benefit you guys, hopefully, because the more people that we have in our building that are protected, it'll, hopefully protect you all as well.
So I went into my undergraduate education undecided. And once I graduated, I was still undecided on what I wanted to do. So I had to do a self-check to really figure out what I wanted and based on my experiences, what did I enjoy? And so one experience came to mind in undergrad. I worked with students at an after-school tutoring center. And of course, we helped with different school subjects, but what was most valuable was that time where we were able to really just talk to each other and really get to know the students. And I remember vividly one student, just one day, we were really close, she was just crying and I just felt really helpless and I didn't know how to help her. And so I was like, I really want to know how to help students. And so that was really pivotal in me deciding to become a school counselor. But then also my own high school counselor helped me a lot in applying to college and deciding to go to college. And so that is also a piece of what made me want to be a counselor, because I am passionate about higher education and creating that access for students and really helping students get to that next level, but also doing so in a way that we do acknowledge the students' mental health and really walking alongside students as they go through that process and being that support for students. I think that is, that's what I love about this role. And that's really what made me want to get into counseling.
I'm really enjoying just hearing everyone's stories and how they got to this field, because I think even as a department, we hear little bits and pieces, but it's nice having this platform to kind of share that. And so that leads me. So Mrs. Graham here. Yeah, so my journey was a little bit of everyone's kind of, I guess, woven in. I actually, when I was in high school, I did not want to go to college. I was very adamant that I was going to be that person that didn't go. I had a really great support system. I had friends, I had teachers, I had counselors that kept pushing me towards that direction of going to school, going to college. And I listened to them. And I was really grateful that I did, because sending me to college gave me more opportunities to connect with more people and figure out myself, what I wanted to do, but then also just have those opportunities. I was originally interested in going into Peace Corps, but then when I found out you had to have a college degree to go to Peace Corps, and then I had my support system, I was like, man, it's pushing me in this direction, so I have to go. And so I pursued communication, strategic communication, and creative writing, because I was always interested in writing. So that's what I did my undergrad. And after that experience, I mean, I had 3 work study jobs at the time. I was an administrative assistant for the academic counselors at OSU. So I did that for about 4 years, and I really loved it. I fell in love with, just the aspects and the jobs of counseling. I was a math tutor, actually, not for the math level that you guys are taking, though. I mean, you guys, seniors in the room, I mean, come on.
Dang it.
But I was a math tutor. I worked with all different kinds of students, and I just loved that. I just loved helping and connecting with them. I think my experiences always being around academics and education, there's so many opportunities within it that I was really drawn to school counseling in particular. After I graduated college, I tried lots of different jobs. Nothing was fitting. I kept coming back to my values and education and working with people, and especially students, especially adolescents, because you guys, you just don't know yourselves yet. And I think that kind of what Mrs. Gabriel said, we as school counselors and counselors in general, we get to walk alongside you. And that's what I love. And so that's what really drew me to being a school counselor.
Hey guys, Jalil here. We hope you're enjoying the show. However, you may notice that one of our counselors is missing, Dee Dee Cruz, the alumni support counselor. Sadly, today is Miss Cruz's last day at Cristo Rey. She is departing to take on a new position at The Ohio State University. Miss Cruz's role at our school was unique. While the other counselors focused most of their attention on the time students are at Cristo Rey, Miss Cruz provided support for students who have already graduated. But you don't have to take my word for it. We invited 2 Cristo Rey graduates to say a few words.
My name is Charmaine Jamar. I graduated from Cristo Rey in 2017.
My name is Florence. I'm a class of 2019 graduate.
Dee Dee came into my life when I was a sophomore in college. So I had already had a year down, about a year and a half down. So I thought I knew what I was doing until I got slapped in the face with all this like financial aid stuff that I was not aware of. And this angel from Cristo Rey, but I was so blessed to have come into my life, help me with all this financial aid stuff, and getting me some scholarships that really helped me to finish college.
At first, I didn't really know how valuable and how she was gonna mean to me. It was when I ran into some trouble, and then I got in contact with her, and we formed a relationship.
She is a wonderful resource. I'm sorry that she is leaving Cristo Rey, but Ohio State will be gaining something of wonderful value.
She really helped me so much. Even to this day, she's still helping me. She's an amazing person.
I'm sure she'd be glad to help anybody who wanted to reach out with her. I'm telling you, she is a resource from God. She is God sent, because college is hard and there's certain things that you need, certain tools that you need to reach out to get help with. And she was the resource for me, and I'm sure she'd be able and willing to be a resource for you as well.
She helps you make sure you're going to school, you're going to classes, even if you run into financial aid trouble, she's going to help you find basically people in that department to help you get a scholarship for it. Just about anything, about books, transportation, housing. She's going to get you covered. And if you just need like a daily encouragement too, she got you.
She's wonderful, and thanks for all your help.
She's a wonderful person, and may God bless her so much.
Thank you, Charmaine and Florence. And good luck, Miss Cruz. You'll be missed. Be sure to tune in next week to hear Charmaine, Florence, and other Cristo Rey graduates talk more about what life is like after Cristo Rey. But for now, back to the counselors.
It's very interesting to hear how all you guys kind of came together in similar ways to create something so beautiful. And at the end of the day, you're with us today, and we get to see that, you know, growth in not only ourselves, but in you, because you guys took the steps to get here. I wanted to know, being counselors, you tend to see things that students don't see in ourselves. What are the things you think pertaining to mental health we should be doing to like make sure that we're staying on top of things, but at the same time, make sure we're all right first?
My biggest advice is, in almost every situation, you can take a positive out of it. And that's one thing. I know it's maybe cliche or might be hard to kind of grasp, but it's really the truth. If you really sit back and look at every single situation that you may find yourself in, there's something positive that you know, some things are done as a learning moment. Some things are done, you know, for us to grow. You know, there's different reasons for why something happened. And instead of looking at all of the things that went wrong and why this and that happened, the why of that, you know, if you can reframe your brain and reframe your mind to think of, you know, obviously that was meant to happen. So, you know, what can I take out of that situation? I think that you guys will, you know, find that life is a lot more pleasant. And just, again, that belief, the belief in yourself. I'm big into the I am statement. So, you know, if you speak it, you know, you can speak it into existence. So just believing in yourself, guys, and, you know, just trying to remain positive in as many situations as possible, I think will set you guys off on a good path of, you know, having a healthy and fulfilling life.
I think I would say be willing to talk. Sometimes counselors, or, you know, people get the idea of counselors are fixing your problems, but really we just talk to you, you know? And I think sometimes if you have that space to talk through things, you're able to work things out and figure out exactly, you know, figure out your situation. And so I would just say, be willing to talk, whether you're talking to your counselor, another trusted adult in your life. I would just say, continue to be open to talk and talk through those things that are going on.
Yeah, Mrs. Gabriel, I love that. I think that willingness to talk, I think so often, well, okay, you all know what I'm about to say, right? It's okay to not be okay. But understanding that and knowing that you can turn to a counselor or a classmate. So often when it comes to mental health, I think students, teenagers, young adults think I have to figure this out on my own, or like I should be able to answer this. And just recognizing that you only know what you know. Whatever is in your head is what you have to work with. And when you are, like Ms. Gabriel said, willing to talk to someone, sometimes I'll hear myself say something out loud and then like immediately stop and say, no, I don't actually believe that. Hearing myself say it, that's not what I think. But when I only say it in my own head, I'm like, yeah, no, that's how I feel. So I think that willingness to talk, like Ms. Gabriel said, and then in a non-COVID year, right, taking off of your mask, right? I think so often everybody wants to act like everything's fine, or we look to our left and we look to our right, and it looks like everybody has it together, or we worry that we are the only one who failed the test, is struggling to understand the concept, has the question. And if nobody else is raising their hand, then I better not either. And so I just sit there with this mask on my face looking like I understand, right? I'll just wear that face and then everybody will think that I do understand. And so again, not your COVID mask, the emotional mask, like the fake smile. You got to take it off sometimes and just sit down with somebody and let them know what's going on.
Hey guys, Ava here, and in honor of Black History Month, it's time for the African American Historical Heroes Challenge. Can you be the first student in your grade level to email Mr. Corrigan with a one-sentence description of the impact of the following historical figure? Alright, let's see. The African American historical hero for today is Rebecca Lee Crumpler. If you're the first student to email Mr. Corrigan with an accurate description, you will earn 3 bonus points in your social studies class or your English class. Good luck, Cougars!
Be able to be also open to receiving the information that you're going to get, along with being open to talk and, asking. Be also open to whatever feedback, and, always remember, Q-tip, don't, quit taking it personal, and be receiving of the information that someone may be trying to give you.
I keep coming back to time. We live in a world where time just kind of goes like that. And especially when you are dealing with screens and just having to be present in the screen and distracting yourself with social media and technology and things like that, I would encourage students to try to not rely on that as much, and to really dive into the things that you enjoy beyond that, beyond the screen, beyond looking for what else or what everyone else is doing, and focus in on like what's important to you and what you value and what you enjoy, because we only have so much time. And I think that it's important to remember that, and to pursue it now. If you're interested in it, pursue it now. If you're interested in something, or something keeps coming back to you, pursue it now, because you never know where it's going to lead you. And if you keep coming back to the things that you love and you value, those are opportunities of growth.
Yeah, and I think everyone put it so eloquently. And I think something that Mr. Rose mentioned about sort of reframing, I think that perspective taking piece is so, so important. And it's one of those things where I think, to your question, Ms. Blankson, about, these tips, I wish I could go back in time and talk to the teenage Mr. Wynn about perspective taking. And one of those things where, I felt like I might have had a mentor or a parent or a friend, and they were just being so hard on me and becoming very upset. But it wasn't until later in life where once I had a chance to take a different perspective, I saw that they were pushing me to be better, or they were pushing me because they loved me. And I wish I knew that in the moment, because it would allow me to appreciate it more. And so I think, to, be young and to hear that, and I think just to continue to push yourself to look at it with different perspectives, and kind of think is there something else going on here that I can sort of understand, that people are really trying to help me or support me or push me. And I think that perspective taking is really important.
Wow, I think those were some fantastic answers. I think it's pretty ironic that, we had B Money kind of wrap us up. What a great legend, Mr. Wynn himself. I just want to say a major thank you to all the counselors here today. I hope one thing that the student body can take is that our counselors are here for you. They're available whenever you need. They will be there. They all have their own backstories and messages of why they became who they are now. And I hope one thing that came from this conversation is that at the end of the day, we are all human. Some days it is okay not to be okay. And that's just a part of growing up, and that's the process of being human. And I hope that our audience at home can really use this mental health day to figure things out, plan for the future, enjoy the now. I just want to say, guys, thank you for listening, and hope to see you guys our next time.
Raindrops still falling on my head, but things aren't so bad since listening to what the counselor said. You are not alone. If you are feeling overwhelmed, then text for HOPE to 741-741. What does Miss O'Donnell always say? It's okay to not be okay.